All right, let's go.
He's the tallest man on the radio, so sit right back and enjoy the show. Fly through the air like a ballistic missile. Here's your host, Ben Kissel.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Ben Kissel Politics, the greatest political podcast going today. I am your host, Ben Kissel, on Instagram at BenKissel1, joined by Kyle Plouffe.
Hello.
At Kyle Plouffe. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/diebud. Watch every episode live. Be a comment, be a part of the show, y'all. If you're watching on YouTube, what's up? Shout out to the YouTube watchers. Also, go over to Spotify, watch on there. That's the way that's the ads and all that kind of stuff. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Also, shoot us an email, okbudpod@gmail.com. Let us know what you are thinking. And that is where we start today's episode. Last episode, we were discussing back to school, to prove to daddy that I'm not a fool. And we talked about school supplies and how expensive they are and what a burden it is on teachers to have to supply their own school supplies. It's bullshit, shouldn't be the case, but that is indeed what happens right now in America. We played a song, and this song was a fantastic hip-hop song from the Salvation Army.
One of the whitest ladies of all time.
A beautiful lady.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the whiter gals out there. And she said, "You know what? I'm going to try my hand at hip-hop." Mm-hmm. And one of our fantastic listeners put a beat to it. And we're going to start the episode off with that because it is just absolutely fantastic. Happy back to school.
Yeah.
Hope everyone's doing well. Hope the first couple of days have been good. Hope the new kids that you got in your classroom, if you're a teacher, aren't a bunch of shitheads. Let's listen to this tune.
This is from Patreon member Sven Gooley.
Let's go.
1, 2, 3. Yo, everybody, now don't stop to clap, cause I'm gonna give you the back to school rap. We're the Salvation Army, and we're here to say that we're really very happy to be here today. And the reason is simple: Vegas kids are great, but there is one thing that we hate. Kid on the first day with no empty-handed. They're eager to learn, but then they are stranded. We need backpacks, crayons, protractors too, pencils and binders, scissors and glue. We need tissues and markers, all the tools to succeed. We're out here today trying to fill that need. Every backpack filled is a future made bright.
Go.
Every donation given will be shining a light. Every pen, every pad, a chance to learn and grow. Empower those kids, let the knowledge flow. As they head back to school, please give from your heart and give our Vegas students an amazing start. Thank you very much, Las Vegas.
Let's go. Thank you so much, Sven.
Sven Gooley.
Sven Gooley.
You did it again.
Absolutely crushing it. The back to school rap. If you weren't motivated to go educate the youths, you certainly aren't motivated now.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. All right. Piggyback on education. Let's talk about marijuana. Donald Trump, his administration, he gave a press conference today. He spoke for about 35 minutes. We're going to discuss the D.C. situation, and we have obviously a lot more to discuss regarding ICE and facial recognition. But let's start with marijuana. 45 states have either legalized the use of marijuana for medicinal reasons or for recreational use. So there's only 5 states holding on to their old school morality that says marijuana's bad. Kids, drugs are bad. Of course, marijuana has been on par with heroin, cocaine, some of the worst drugs that you can possibly do, some of the most dangerous drugs that are out there. And as we know, marijuana doesn't belong on that list, not to mention when it comes to incarcerated folks who are in prison for doing nothing more than selling or smoking a thing that every single relative, son, or politician themselves has smoked or digested in gummy form.
But didn't inhale.
Didn't inhale. Donald Trump. No, that was Bill Clinton. Didn't inhale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He treated it like it was a cigar. And he didn't inhale that either.
Well, he did something else to it.
Yes, indeed. Lucky lady. All right, let's play Donald Trump's answer when it comes to will you legalize marijuana? It's encouraging and also like not encouraging, but I do think we're headed in the right direction on the federal level. If you're the government, you got to look at the tea leaves, realize there's a lot of money being left on the table. No reason for weed to still be classified where it is classified federally, again, which is up there with some of the worst drugs you can possibly take. Here's Donald Trump.
We're looking at it. Some people like it, some people hate it. Some people hate the whole concept of marijuana because if it does bad for the children, it does bad for people that are older than children. But we're looking at reclassification, and we'll make a determination over the next few weeks. And that determination hopefully will be the right one. It's a very complicated subject, the subject of marijuana.
Very complicated subject, the subject of marijuana. Since 1970, it has been classified as one of the worst drugs you can possibly have. It was signed with the Controlled Substances Act, so it's been a long time since we as a nation have criminalized something that grows in the earth, given to us by a mother, and has done some great things for people who suffer from arthritis, who suffer from, PTSD. And as we saw in the state of New Jersey, a young woman who was suffering seizures, a young girl who was basically allowed to die because fat fuck Chris Christie decided to come down on her and her family because they had the audacity to skirt the pharmaceutical industry and choose to treat her seizures with marijuana. So if reclassified, weed would be treated the same as drugs like Tylenol with codeine and anabolic steroids. Because when I think of steroids, I think of weed.
So much different on the scale of good for you and bad for you.
Yeah.
Steroids will kill you, definitely. Weed will just make you a little dizzy.
I mean, steroids might make you a fantastic WWE superstar.
Yeah.
Might make you one of the greatest of all time. Might make you kill your whole family.
Yeah. I mean,
I want to thank the fan who made me as a creative player on their WWE 2K. He has me in a match against Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Yep.
The showdown.
Yep. One person said both canceled. I said, Corny, come on now. Leave me alone now. I ain't canceled, baby.
No.
Can't cancel the king.
Shit.
I'll actually be in next year in Kentucky. I'll be doing one of these cons, so that'll be fun. I might bring the team. Might bring Jerry and Kyle as well. So back to marijuana. Reclassifying weed would be the biggest change in federal policy. It would be the biggest change that the government has taken since outlawing a drug. So this would be the biggest, I guess, apology that the government has ever given to the population, being like, you know what? These past 50 some years where we've been really cracking down on weed are bad.
Yeah, but then they're not going to...
It's all cool now.
When they always make these changes, they never release the people from prison who have already been incarcerated because of the rules.
There's already a couple of different programs out there in the states that have legalized, where if there were state charges, they are releasing some people. So there are some benefits happening.
Yeah.
I work with the Last Prisoner Project. I give them money every month. And they are working tirelessly to see that people who are incarcerated for weed offenses get out. So there is some positive movement, but obviously, again, from the federal perspective, it is still a very, very heavy drug. And if you're busted taking it across state lines, it don't matter anymore what the state law says. You're officially in the federal government's purview, and they will throw the book at you. So that is a positive thing in the right direction. At the very least, we have a president. For all of his woes, it seems like we might be nudged in the right direction.
Well, that's good.
And I still can't believe Joe Biden didn't just fucking do this and make him one of the most popular presidents of all time. If he would, why didn't the Dems just do this? Just do it.
It was
Hillary Clinton in 2016 should have just been, oh, by the way, weed's going to be legal.
Yeah.
And then everyone would be like, all right, fuck it, let's go.
Maybe he's selfishly doing it because he knows he's a McDonald's man, and then once people get high enough, they're going to be taking over his McDonald's. He's going to have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, so you don't want him having to wait in line for them Big Macs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Donald Trump says he eats like a stoner because he doesn't think that they have the ability to poison the food because it's made fresh.
What?
That's what he says.
Oh, my God.
That's why he eats McDonald's.
That hurts my brain.
Yeah, because he's like, no, they make it fresh. But it's like, I've been to McDonald's, bro. I don't know how fresh it is, but it's probably not, it's not poisoned with like plutonium.
Right.
It'll just be poisoned with like boogers and saliva and, the natural stuff you get from the sweaty kids that work at fast food restaurants, which, you know what? That's half of what you're paying for. That's the flavor.
Yeah, there's more urine than uranium. You're right. But I don't know if I want either.
Well, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if we can tell the story that you told our audience on Patreon.
Oh, that my son was running around. I thought he picked up a chocolate.
Speaking of the
ground.
munchies.
Yeah, and he was holding it up, and I got down to his level. I held my mouth open so I could like bite it in half to see what it was, and it was his shit. So that was fun.
So you ate your child's shit.
Yeah, he shoved it right in my mouth and laughed.
Let's move on, everybody. Talking about Washington, D.C., there is a crime problem. It is interesting because a lot of people are like, crime is down. It's lowest it's been in 30 years. That's the mid-90s when it was like super high. Crime is a problem in D.C. Don't let the media tell you that it's not. It is. There's a bunch of people that I know personally that have been mugged and things of that nature. The question is it right for Donald Trump to send the National Guard on the streets of Washington, D.C., and is that a precursor to him sending the National Guard, as we already saw him sending the Marines here in Los Angeles? Is this a precursor to him sending troops into areas of this country that he may not like because they did not support him? Something we cannot have, something that is absolutely unconstitutional and a dangerous, dangerous precedent for a president to set. But there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. We also have to talk about the facial recognition technology that Donald Trump and his team want to put in place. This is sadly a bipartisan situation where both sides are bought by big tech. Very few politicians have the balls to stand up to these pieces of trash because the Peter Thiels of the world are financing every single political campaign that will allow them. And of course, any campaign is desperate for cash and certainly desperate for that Thiel money and people like him, whether they be left or right. As we've seen with big tech, that's out the window. Surveillance state, that's what they want because they want to move product, and that's the product that they are selling. I want to start with a story about a gal named Lucy, okay?
Lucy, huh?
This is a gal named Lucy.
Nice.
Okay?
Lefty Lucy.
Lefty Lucy, righty tighty. Mm-hmm. Well, she's real pissed off.
Uh-oh.
Why? Because she sold her face to an AI company for $1,500.
Oh, that's a bad move.
Very bad move. She's 23 years old, okay? She wanted to become an AI model. So not knowing exactly what she was signing, she decided to say, okay, here's for $1,500, you can use my face for whatever you like. Now she is bound by this legal agreement. This is actually in the UK, but of course it's also coming here, and it already is. So she's faced with the possibility of her likeness being used for advertising campaigns, for political campaigns. She could be the new face of hemorrhoids and have no ability to be like, can I not be the face of hemorrhoids, please, God, like Joey from Friends? Wasn't he the face of AIDS or something?
I think so. Something fucked up, yeah.
So, upon reading the contract further after signing, she realized she could no longer make money with her own face because she doesn't own it. This is according to Lucy. She says, it was just an initial DM reach out from a scout wanting to use me for an AI model. The money was mostly what attracted me. I guess I also found it interesting, the whole concept. I'm going to be an AI model. She said, I've seen celebrities do it. So she signed the thing not knowing what the hell it actually meant. She says, the contract in a nutshell says, I can't accept money for brand endorsements. So if I ever wanted to be a user-generated content creator, I can't do that. Something I realized after they filmed a documentary about people who have had literally their faces taken from them for $1,500
For the rest of their lives.
for the rest of their lives. So if she got an ad deal, if she was the face of McDonald's sucking on a straw after they release a brand new milkshake, she couldn't actually make the money from that because, again, her face is not owned by her. It's just insane that we are officially here. We are in the time frame, in reality, right now, where you can be homeless and you could be watching yourself star on a television show and not receive anything for it. It's an episode of Black Mirror, and it's playing out as we speak.
That's what people in the chat are saying.
It's crazy. You know, and they wonder, like, what... This is where you hear at the bar, like, someone getting fucked over, and you're like, yeah, I was supposed to be this, that, and the other thing, and yeah, they fucked me over, and you're like, all right, pal, all right. But then sometimes they say shit, and you're like, oh, wow, yeah. No, you got screwed.
Right.
Because obviously they preyed on this young woman, you know, and it is her fault. She's 23 years old. She's a grown-ass adult. Mm-hmm. But let's be honest, when was the last time you read every single word in a contract? I just... assume they don't want to harvest my cojones, but if they wrote it in there, odds are they could come and get them in the middle of the night, and I'd be like, what y'all doing? They'd be like, you signed it. I'd be like, take it.
Make with the balls, pal.
You want these two little niblets? They can't even fill up a chipmunk's mouth. So, when it comes to AI, so much of what Donald Trump is talking about in Washington, D.C., and what Donald Trump is talking about and doing with immigration is tied to a new AI surveillance state that he wants to put in place. Let's start with some clips from Jeanine Pirro and Donald Trump talking about the D.C., what's being called a takeover. Basically, the federal government is going to be taking over their police force and acting as mayor of Washington, D.C., which obviously has an elected official. They have a council. They are not a state, as I'm sure many people know. So they don't have the same legal grounds as, you know, a California, North Carolina, so on and so forth. So that's why this is a perfect little test market for Donald Trump and his administration to see just how far can we go when it comes to sending National Guard into the streets of America. Let's play this clip.
Words, please.
This is Jeanine Pirro, who is a psychopath.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you, Madam Attorney General, and to all my partners here. We all want the same thing. We all want a safe city. We want a safe capital. We want to be able to bring our families here. We want to be able to come and enjoy the history that makes this place great. And unfortunately, we are not in that position right now. And Mr. President, I want to thank you for taking the step that we need right now to make criminals understand that they are not going to get away with it anymore. And I'm not going to stand here and go over and over the cases. But what I can tell you is this. I see too much violent crime being committed by young punks who think that they can get together in gangs and crews and beat the hell out of you or anyone else. They don't care where they are. They can be in DuPont Circle, but they know that we can't touch them. Why? Because the laws are weak. I can't touch you if you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and you have a gun. I convict someone of shooting another person with an illegal gun on a public bus in the chest, intent to kill. I convict him. And you know what the judge gives him? Probation. Says you should go to college.
I'm not sure if that's so true.
We need to go after the D.C. Council and their absurd laws. We need to get rid of this concept of, no cash bail. We need to recognize that the people who matter are the law-abiding citizens, and it starts today. But it's not going to end today, because the president is going to do everything we need to do to make sure that these emboldened criminals understand we see you, we're watching you, and we're going to change the law to catch you.
All right, that's Judge Jeanine Pirro, a woman that I've met multiple times. Very small. You goddamn kids! But scary. She is scary. Everyone that worked with her at Fox News was horrified of her. Every time she would come in to the makeup chair and the hair chair, it was frightening. And I was on, I'm not sure if I ever did her show, but I've certainly been near her show. And let's just say without a teleprompter, she kind of gets lost. As a matter of fact, I think you can YouTube her giving multiple speeches where she loses her notes or the teleprompter breaks, and then she's just like completely blank in there. Nothing's going on in there. She loves her wine. She really is. She is a shallow core of a bee. She loves her wine. And she has power for the first time, true political power for the first time ever. The fact that she is speaking at a podium that has the White House insignia is fucking crazy. Nonetheless, Mayor Muriel Bowser, his last name is Bowser.
Bowser.
Vote for Bowser. You would think he would be tough on crime, or is he the kingpin behind it all? With a name like Bowser. He has pledged to work alongside the federal officials Trump has tasked with overseeing the city's law enforcement. He's also insisted the police chief remained in charge of the department and his officers. Before we get to Donald Trump's clip, let's play what they had to say. So this is actually a gal. Muriel Bowser is a gal. Isn't that exciting? She says, how we got here or what we think about the circumstances. Right now, we have more police, and we want to make sure we use them. The tone shifted a little bit with Bowser. At first, she was like, hey, stay out of here. And now, because it is happening, she has said she will work with the administration the best that she can. Overall, D.C. does have very high crime rates. It's not good. And I know because, again, it is Donald Trump and his administration doing this. And again, there are some issues that we're going to be talking about. But don't listen to the media when they're like, crime is down 30%, because it's down 30% from the 90s where it was absolutely horrible. Everyone that I know, Baratunde Thurston, the Lucas brothers. There's so many people that lived in D.C., and I've heard stories, and it wasn't nice. So it's slightly better than it was in the mid-90s where Marion Barry was smoking a bunch of crack, and that's why I like him.
Right.
That's why I think they needed to support that guy. Be like, come on now, that's one, that's
Man of the people.
It's a man. It's like what Rob Ford was in Toronto. My boy, if Chris Farley ran for office and won.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like the movie Black Sheep, but instead of his brother running for office, Chris Farley ran for office.
Hell yeah.
It's a deep cut for the Black Sheep fans out there. Vote for Donnelly. It's a fantastic movie, and I'm sick of people saying it's not.
People, me.
It's a I never heard about white pudding before. You don't even fucking know what comedy is. You wouldn't know humor if it tickled your perineum. All right.
Please.
Let's play a clip from Donald Trump talking about the DC takeover, and then we're going to play, after that, a clip of him talking about facial recognition, which is really what all of this is about.
I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom.
Oh, they need a ballroom.
And that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly.
So there you go. If you signed up for the National Guard, that is officially what you will be doing, walking the streets of Washington, D.C. He's also going to have the FBI doing something that the FBI doesn't usually do, which is relatively mundane police work.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so the FBI is going to be out there as well doing the bidding for Donald Trump. And again, there are issues with crime in, cities across America. The question is this the right move for the federal government to take the National Guard or the United States military and have them roam the streets? When it comes to surveillance, definitely has a lot to do with what we're seeing in D.C. In March, the U.S. State Department revealed that they're going to be using artificial intelligence to revoke visas of, quote, foreign nationals who appear to support Hamas or other designated terror groups. Again, what does it mean to appear to support Hamas? I don't know. Maybe you got like a Tori Amos shirt and you're like, it seems to me like she might support Hamas. Yeah. We know Tori Amos. If she's not having an orgasm on stage, she is actively supporting Hamas.
That's what they were about, all those songs.
So I don't trust the language when it's like support or how do you know? And obviously, as we're seeing on a regular basis now play out on the streets all across America, they have a very broad understanding of who is legal, who is illegal, and who is an American citizen and who they can detain because they are detaining American citizens at mass. The Trump administration is planning to gather social media identifiers of more than 33 million people. So this program, this technology will no doubt be up in Washington, D.C., probably first. And because of that, we're going to be living in what people thought was fascist China. It's going to be coming home to roost right here. I want to play this clip of Donald Trump talking about facial recognition, what his plans are. I mean, we just have to listen to what he says because, as we've learned in the past, a lot of people will say, he's joking. He's just joshing. A lot of tongue-in-cheek, right? But in the case of Donald Trump, that's kind of part of the psychological makeup and sort of his ability to manipulate. People think it's a farce. They think it's a lark until it's actually happening. And they're like, oh, shit, he was serious the entire time. So let's play him discussing facial recognition and the future of law enforcement and the future of, violating our Constitution, our constitutional rights to privacy. They say, oh, you're out in public, you have no right to privacy. Well, I'm sure they're also looking in your windows as you watch Jeopardy at 5 p.m.
We will finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. We will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
I was in Shanghai, and you're not allowed to jaywalk in China. They have facial recognition cameras in every sidewalk, and what they do is if you jaywalk when the light is red, it'll scan your face, and it'll deduct money automatically from your bank account, and they'll display you on a big LED board calling you a criminal, all done automatically, remotely. I filmed the video about it because it was absolutely insane. It gets so crazy that in certain places of Shanghai, you're only allowed to walk in one direction. If you walk in the opposite direction, they scan your face, deduct money from your bank account, and if you don't have money in your bank account, social credit score gets removed.
There we go. So that is happening right here in America. You heard it from the mouth, the strange mouth of Donald Trump, and then you also heard it from someone who experienced living under that. It's ironic, right?
Why was he screaming?
Because he likes
The biometric.
biometric. Well, it's a big word. He likes to scream the big words so he can really, I like to do that too, where it's like, oh, this is a tough one. Biometric, because then it sells it, and then it's like it's easier to draw neat, like really big.
Yeah.
But like when you're trying to draw write neat, real small, it's more difficult.
A little nuanced.
Right? So the Chinese Communist Party, it operates what is arguably the most sophisticated surveillance state through a combination of digital technology and decentralized but also well-organized networks of bureaucrats, spies, and informants. So that is the country that we are heading towards having, which is not the nation that people voted for. And I was going to say the irony is, of course, many people who supported Donald Trump support him because of the idea of freedom. We love freedom. And there are some aspects of the administration. He is doing something where they're completely getting rid of people's COVID records and stuff like that. Some shit where I'm like, all right, I don't know if the government needs to have that, sure. But then we also have a much worse situation, something extremely nefarious, like Donald Trump and his regime deciding to set up facial recognition all over this country. At first, of course, they're going to come for the immigrants, and then they are going to come for you. And when it comes to facial recognition, Donald Trump has just asked the Supreme Court to allow racial profiling in California during ICE raids. I was just watching a video of a bunch of people doing construction, literally building a fucking house, and ICE was on the ground, and they're like, we're not getting off these ladders.
Wow.
Because they're like, you can't climb up and get us, evidently. Apparently, once you get to your home, I'm sure you saw the video of the woman running into her house, and then once she got into her home, ICE stopped. They're like, shit, she got home. It's like it's like what's the name of that game?
Base.
Yeah.
It's like
base. Home. Can't touch me.
Wow.
I can say whatever I want to. You can't touch me.
Yeah.
But it's happening in a much more serious way than just a juvenile children's game. The Supreme Court has now taken up the idea and the Trump administration has asked them to allow officers to arrest people based on how they look. Last month's ruling by the U.S. District Judge Mam Frimpong upheld the 9th U.S. Circuit Courts of Appeals, quote, threatens to upend immigration officials' ability to enforce the immigration laws in the Central District of California. So the Justice Department has basically said that it is okay in many ways to racially profile. So Los Angeles County and 6 other counties have nearly 20 million residents, more than any other federal court district in the nation. And it's become, obviously, as we've talked about, the focus of immigration issues in this country. The Ninth Circuit panel upheld Trump's commandeering of the National Guard, rejecting a lawsuit by Governor Gavin Newsom, but Frimpong, an appointee of Joe Biden, ruled July 11th of this month that immigration officials were overstepping legal boundaries in making arrests and issued a temporary restraining order. However, in the ruling up on August 1st, they upheld the judge's decision. Another Ninth Circuit panel said federal officers had been seizing people from the streets and workplaces based on 4 factors: their apparent race or ethnicity, the language they spoke, or the accent in their voice. That would justify them to arrest anyone who appear Hispanic, speaks Spanish or English with an accent, wears work clothes, and stands near a car wash, in front of a Home Depot, or at a bus stop. So there are people, like Frimpong, who are trying to fight against the Trump administration, but now this is going to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is going to decide if you can actually just racially profile and have that as the motivation to pull somebody over and ask them to give you their papers. It is not right whatsoever. So when it comes to the Supreme Court, We will see what happens. When it comes to ICE, we know what's happening, and that is a lot of people are rushing to join. Not just Dean Cain, not just television Superman from the 1990s. Apparently, 100,000 Americans have applied for roles with U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement since the organization began recruiting last month. Now we have a soundbite from a police officer in Florida, I believe a Florida sheriff, who is quite well known.
Oh.
He's always roasting people.
Yes.
He's always roasting people. And he is super pissed at ICE because ICE is actively recruiting police officers. So he's like, hey, man, you're taking my guys to go join ICE. ICE is offering $50,000 right out the gate as a signing bonus. They're offering more money. Of course, they're offering a lot of action on the street if that's what you're looking for. And of course, Florida, the home of Alligator Alcatraz, they're trying to build more pop-up prisons. That's what FEMA is working on now. God forbid they help people of North Carolina who are still struggling after the storms and elsewhere in this country. FEMA's main job right now is setting up prison camps across the country, which I don't think is what they were intended to be doing. But let's play this sheriff talking. This is a local news clip, and this sheriff is all pissed that ICE is trying to take his people.
Somebody in Washington needs to lose their job over this because this is ridiculous.
Here's the email that has some Florida sheriffs feeling betrayed. ICE Deputy Director Madison Sheehan sent this to law enforcement officers across the country. It also boasts recruitment bonuses of $50,000 paid over 5 years if officers sign on. Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey used words like appalling and disgusting to describe the letter.
What the hell were you thinking? Why would you go after those that are trying to help you and try and recruit away from the law enforcement officers, the very law enforcement agencies that are protecting our communities? My guess is they didn't want to aggravate the governors of the state by going after state law enforcement officers, so they just crapped on us.
Pinellas County Sheriff Bob Gualtieri has similar feelings. A statement from his office says, "We have partnered with ICE like no other state," adding ICE actively trying to use our partnership to recruit our personnel is wrong. We asked every sheriff's office in Central Florida and got these responses. Seminole County deputies told us, "We will continue to recruit individuals who believe in our organizational philosophies and desire to serve their local communities." While Orange County deputies say, "We don't believe it makes it harder for us to compete for recruits."
We have a great relationship with our liaisons here in Florida, but somebody in Washington needs to lose their job over this because this is ridiculous.
The liaison.
And it's not going to be famous Japanese-American bacon salesman Dean Cain, I'll tell you that.
No, it's not. No, it's not. So, as we've talked about, who are they actually arresting? They are not arresting the gang members. They're not arresting the people who are breaking the law because those people are good at hiding. They know what to do. They know how to avoid being captured by ICE. They're arresting the people who are actively working in this country, building the very homes that all of us reside in. ICE agents have been caught on camera disguised as construction workers. Now, the Department of Homeland Security, they have denied this. They're like, no, we don't play dress up. We're not actors.
Yeah,
we don't do that. But there's video that says otherwise. According to Juan Fonseca Tapia, the co-founder and organizer of the Connecticut-based immigrant advocacy group, they talk about a film that came out, a video that came out featuring a confrontation between people who are pretending to be construction workers that are actually ICE and construction workers. They are actively going to places that are filled with the most vulnerable folks. Again, people who are out in public doing what we want them to be doing, which is building our homes, building our factories, and building our schools. The construction worker getup was actually a disguise. ICE confirmed to The Intercept, which is a news organization that has some pretty good reporting on oftentimes, that the man in a hard hat is an immigration and customs enforcement agent. ICE New York City officers, this is a quote, ICE New York City officers were conducting surveillance in Brewster, New York on August 2nd when anti-ICE agitators, You know how they're just agitators.
Agitators.
Those anti-ICE agitators who are like, can you get off of our construction site, please, you fucking jerk off?
Quit fucking with people.
Because also, like, you're not even like, pick up a hammer. You know how easy it would be to find the person who isn't a construction worker on a construction site?
They're the ones with the handcuffs.
I thought it was lunch. Yeah. It's 9 a.m. Come on, pal. Let's get some work done.
You know how pissed I would be if it was my house that was getting worked on, and then all of a sudden it has to get delayed now because they just showed up and started arresting everybody?
I would not be happy.
Yeah.
I'd not be happy. I'll tell you that freaking much right now. So, when anti-ICE agitators followed them and attempted to disrupt their operations, that is where the footage that is when the footage takes place. And they found that they spotted a second man who was similarly disguised as a construction worker. This is what they say. I find it outrageous. It's indefensible. This is where we're crossing a dangerous line on immigration enforcement into these paramilitary type tactics with a secret police force. That is according to New York State Senator Patricia Fahey. That's what she said last month. On Tuesday of this week, National Conference of State Legislators in Boston, Fahey joined colleagues from Massachusetts and Pennsylvania condemning the paramilitary type secret police tactics that ICE is using. They say we started to reach out to all the other states that have legislation concerning masked ICE agents and said, let's do this jointly. Let's collectively bring attention to this. Fahey told The Intercept, we had a couple of dozen lawmakers all standing up to say, this is not who we are, and calling out these authoritarian type tactics.
Boston, Massachusetts. Can you believe it?
Oh, but even for Boston, Massachusetts, I
We
mean,
get a bad rap, but they're sticking up for people here.
aren't the construction workers supposed to be the racist ones?
Yeah, seriously.
Aren't they supposed to be the cat callers?
I mean,
they're going after many construction workers are probably Trump supporters. I mean, we saw the guy who had Trump burgers. He had a hamburger business called Trump Burgers or something like that. He got arrested, and now he might be deported. And he's like, but I was good to you.
Yeah, exactly.
I always use the analogy of Danny Trejo in Halloween and Rob Zombie's Halloween when, he's getting drowned by Michael Myers. And he's like, but I was good to you, Mikey.
I was good to you.
I was good to you. And Michael's like, I'm a sociopath. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, Chris just said, oh, the face-eating leopards ate my face.
Yes.
Who would have saw that coming?
So, I mean, it's happening.
It is. And Boston, Mayor Wu specifically came out and said that she's not going to comply with anything that Trump said. And I know half the people there are very excited about that. Half the people are extremely upset about it. So it is weird to see in each city how everyone's reacting politically and just, the residents of the cities too.
There's a strong Venn diagram of people that, again, do not support Donald Trump in any way, who obviously don't support what ICE is doing, and people who did support Donald Trump, and in many cases probably do support Donald Trump, maybe with tariffs or, a couple of the other economic things or social things. But when it comes to ICE, again, attacking workers of this country, when it comes to ICE detaining, farm workers, when it comes to ICE detaining employers of people who might not be documented, or people who are documented American citizens that have constitutional rights. Everyone has a constitutional right. They have got to be aghast and disgusted, and they are going to see their factories start hemorrhaging employees because people aren't going to fucking show up. They're already not showing up. I wouldn't.
Yeah. And specifically,
I would stay right in my basement.
People are scared because, although ICE has all this money, there's still no standard identification procedure.
No.
There's no standard uniforms. People are literally being contracted to jump in, and they're getting their uniforms off of Amazon, costumes that are security or ICE or police or something. It's real bad.
It really is, and it all plays into redistricting as well. So Donald Trump has announced that he wants a rare mid-decade census, and he wants that census to exclude illegal immigrants as the gerrymandering war continues between Democrats and Republicans, and we're all getting fucked in the middle. So he says, I have instructed our Department of Commerce to immediately begin work on a new and highly accurate census, and he capitalized census, so you know it's a big deal, based on modern day facts and figures, importantly using the results of information gained from the presidential election of 2024. Now you might say, well, they're illegal immigrants. My problem is I don't believe the government has the right data to tell who is an illegal immigrant, who's undocumented, who's a resident. It doesn't seem to me like they're doing a very good job of delineating which one is which and who should be, incarcerated without habeas corpus, without their constitutional rights being met, and who is actually a citizen. I don't trust them one bit. It seems to me it's more of a, catch them all like Pokemon and ask questions later. And if they are deemed to be a citizen, maybe they spend 3 or 4 weeks in a camp and then they're let out. I just read a story about a woman who was lactating. Her tits were full of milk.
Oh.
And they kept her for 4 freaking weeks, which means she has a child who was in desperate need of that milk. And I'm sure the conditions she was in were not really suitable for a woman who had just given birth, who was going through lactation.
Yeah, and if you don't have a pump, then you'll get infections and stuff like that. That's crazy.
I'll be your pump. Ooh. I'll pump you right now. You imagine how horrifying that is if a security guard says that to you.
Oh, I'm sure it probably happened.
Yep. So the Constitution stipulates that the appointment of congressional districts, quote, this is back to immigration and how it plays in to redistricting. Congressional districts shall be determined by adding the whole number of free persons. Now, most scholars interpret that as requiring the federal government to count legal and illegal immigrants as natural-born Americans. This is also why Donald Trump wants to get rid of what is oftentimes termed, and it's an offensive term, anchor babies. He wants birthright citizenship to be gone.
That's crazy.
But all of us have benefited from birthright citizenship.
That's like the only,
including him.
Yeah, it's like the only actual criteria,
right,
of being a natural born citizen here.
So currently, the U.S. Census Bureau, quote, collects data from all foreign born who participate in its censuses and surveys, regardless of legal status. So this is going to have a massive chilling effect on the voting electorate. Again, not just illegal immigrants. This is going to, have people who are legal, who are documented. I'm not filling out a government form that tells them where I am, what my job is, what my age is, this, that, and the other thing. I don't trust these motherfuckers at all. And you look at what happened with the people who did participate in DACA, who did participate in the federal government programs. They have been the first ones who have been arrested and detained because the 3,000 a day threshold that the administration wants is absolutely untenable and not possible unless you do a bunch of corrupt shit, and that's exactly what they're doing. So lastly, I just want to play a clip, and this is about education and immigration. And this comes from a man who is much smarter than me, and he's talking about how without, immigration, our entire country would fall apart. If you look at, the people who have created some of the most powerful things in this country, they have been immigrants. And the fact that we're losing sight of that so quickly is really upsetting. I hate George W. Bush, but it's interesting listening to him, back in the 2000s, early aughts, discussing growing up in Texas and having a relationship with his Hispanic neighbors and discussing how, Mexicans and Americans have come together for a long time and we all have the same dreams and, we all want to have family and success and, just be able to take care of ourselves, to where we are now, which is, again, attempting to purge people that are the wrong color from a census form. So let's play this clip regarding education and how important immigration is in that process.
The United States has the worst educational system known to science. Our graduates compete regularly at the level of third world countries. So how come the scientific establishment of the United States doesn't collapse? If we're producing a generation of dummies, if the stupid index of America keeps rising every year, just watch network television and reality shows, right? How come the scientific establishment of the United States doesn't collapse? Let me tell you something. Some of you may not know this. America has a secret weapon. That secret weapon is the H-1B. Without the H-1B, the scientific establishment of this country would collapse. Forget about Google. Forget about Silicon Valley. There would be no Silicon Valley without the H-1B. You realize that in the United States, 50% of all PhD candidates are foreign-born? At my system, one of the biggest in the United States, 100% of the PhD candidates are foreign-born. The United States is a magnet sucking up all the brains of the world, but now the brains are going back. They're going back to China. They're going back to India. And people are saying, oh my God, there's a Silicon Valley in India now. Oh my God, there's a Silicon Valley in China. Duh, where did it come from? You removed the H-1B visa and you collapsed the economy. In Wall Street Journal, editorialized against a congressman who wanted to ban the H-1B, saying they'll take jobs away from the American people. The Wall Street Journal said, look, there are no Americans who can take these jobs. These are at the highest level of high technology. They don't take away jobs for Americans. They create entire industries.
So we have the jobs being not filled when it comes to, again, the tangible so-called blue-collar jobs, the farmers, the construction workers, and then you have your so-called white-collar jobs that also won't be able to be filled because we're doing such horrible things to people who are immigrants in this country. So it is a twofold problem, both, theoretically on the bottom and on the top of our education scale and our economic scale. And it's just simply not sustainable. So the Supreme Court case is Nome versus Perdomo. We will see what they decide. If they decide to go with what the Ninth Circuit panel says here in New York, or I'm sorry, in California, or if they decide to go and side with Donald Trump and his administration. So it's crazy. So. Anyway, all right, everyone. Well, thank you all so much for listening. Hope you're doing well out there. Do we have anything else?
We got some comments here.
Let's go to comments.
Yeah, Vanessa was talking about weed being legalized. She said Ohio is a state that has legalized, but companies can still choose to honor federal law, so companies can still fire you for testing positive, which is crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. When it came to Joey from Friends, he was the face of herpes.
There we go. Thank you.
If anybody wants, I will be the face of herpes or hemorrhoids or both, but for more than $1,500 for sure.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
People are worried about the homeless getting taken out of D.C. They said the homeless part is going to be bad. Where they're going to put them all, we don't know.
Well, you're going to feed the beast.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to feed the system. That's the thing, There's a lot of money in homelessness, whether they're on the streets or whether they're incarcerated.
Right. And then Vanessa was saying that because you were talking about they're going to look at us on the streets with the AI, but also peer into our windows. And Vanessa said, I hope they look at my windows. I live alone and in my birthday suit.
Let's go. There's someone for everyone. Maybe you'll find love.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice? An ICE agent knocks on your door. Beautiful 2025 love story in America.
AI detects love.
All right. Well, we'll keep you updated on the Supreme Court. What do they decide? It doesn't seem like they should decide that racial profiling is right. But again, this court, it's surprising in many ways. And obviously Donald Trump appointing many of them. Sometimes they have broken with him, but oftentimes they support him and his administration's desires. So we will keep you updated on all of that. Thank you so much for listening to Ben Kissel Politics, the greatest political podcast out there. Again, patreon.com/diebud. Check us out. Love yourself, be yourself, hail yourself. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.